Hello again everyone, welcome back to Japan Vintage Camera. It's a very beautiful late afternoon in Tokyo. The sun is just setting over to my right here. That means I must be facing toward the south. Spring is coming along nicely here. It's so beautiful and green today. The cherry blossoms are just starting to bloom. By next week or maybe 10 days they should be in full bloom, and it should be very beautiful here at Aoyama Park. Today's video is about the Polaroid 600 SE. I thought people might be interested in seeing the Polaroid 600 SE since my video about the Mamiya press cameras, the Universal and Super 23, was quite popular. As you can tell by looking at the 600 SE, it's based upon the Mamiya Universal camera, and it was of course manufactured by Mamiya. But was a little bit more modern of a design than the standard Universal camera. It has some features which the Universal doesn't have, and also it's lacking some features which the Universal does have. The overall design is a little bit cleaner and more solid looking than Universal, and it's a really good looking camera, though a little bit big and bulky. It's not particularly heavy. Maybe about as heavy as a good SLR with a good lens. When I mean that it's simplified over the Universal, the most obvious simplification is in the viewfinder. In the Polaroid 600 you have only two settings for frame lines in the viewfinder, for the standard 127mm lens or the 150mm short telephoto. There is no setting for 100 or 250 as you would find on the Mamiya Universal. And also the Polaroid 600 does not accept roll film backs. You have to use the Fuji Instant Film back, but you can modify these cameras to accept roll film backs by using a modified Mamiya M adapter. That is the adapter which is fitted to most Universal cameras, which you must remove in order to fit an instant film back. Often you can find these adapters on eBay or elsewhere. Some are already adapted to fit on the Polaroid 600 SE. The Polaroid 600 SE accepts Fuji Instant Pack film, which was discontinued by Fuji a couple of years ago. However, the film is very well made and lasts a long time, and I've had really good results with film which is 10 years expired or less, and occasionally I get really good results on film which is as much as 12 years expired. Film older than that, it gets really hit and miss. It depends on how the film was stored. I tried some film here today to see if it would work, but this film happened to be 36 years old, and of course, there wasn't much chance of getting it to work. I got the first sheet out, and I got a little bit of an exposure on it, but the film sheets themselves are kind of distorted, and I couldn't get them to come through the rollers. The operation of this 600 SE is quite simple. Once you've loaded the film in the camera, you remove the dark slide like so. You make sure that the shutter release cable is affixed. The first thing you do is you charge the shutter, because when you charge the shutter, then you can see all the numbers on the shutter speed ring and the aperture speed ring. With the shutter lever released, it kind of blocks these a little bit. So with the shutter lever charged, you select your aperture and your shutter speed, and then you would focus, compose, and then shoot. 3 different lenses were available for the Polaroid 600 SE. The standard lens was the 127mm portrait lens, which was Mamiya's most popular lens for face portraits, driver's licenses, and ID cards, and things like that. The other optional lenses were the 150mm short telephoto. That's why the viewfinder has settings for these 2 lenses. And then the more hard to find lens was the wide angle 75mm f5.6 lens. You cannot use the lenses from the Mamiya press system on the 600 SE because they use a different mounting system. The Polaroid uses more of a SLR style bayonet mount, where you insert the lens and you twist it, and to release the lens you push in the release button and turn it and remove it, whereas the Mamiya press system uses a different style bayonet mount where you push in the lens and you turn a bayonet locking ring, similar to what you find on the old Canon lenses to lock the lens into place. These cameras are quite sturdy, quite well made. Despite their size, they're not particularly heavy. I don't find it really any heavier than a Mamiya RB67 or a large SLR with a good lens on it. These are really awesome cameras, and they take really good images, provided you find good film for them. They're quite easy to use if you follow the steps, and quite wonderful. So long as that you have a stock of the film, you should have good results with it. I don't know what to say about the state of Fuji Instant Pack film. It would be wonderful if someone else would come along and manufacture it, as they have done with the 600 film in the other Polaroid cameras. The Instant Pack film is much less sophisticated than those films, so I would imagine it would be easier to produce again. But and as for the prices, I really can't predict what's going to happen with those. The prices are kind of high right now for fresh film, and it becomes less expensive as film gets older. 10-year-old film is generally safe to use, and you can usually get that quite reasonably compared to the price of fresh film right now. Anyway, that's my video about the Polaroid 600 SE. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I'll be posting more videos about cameras and photography in the near future. If you want to see these, please subscribe. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please come back. We hope you tune in again soon.